we understand what it's about.
Every time I touch the ball, I'm thinking I'm going to score.
And this is our chance to write our part of the story.
The wheels, ball, goes, touchdowns!
Like he looks like he wants to take someone's head off.
Oh, picked off! Into the mix! Dante McClellan!
Mississippi State traveling up north to take on the Tigers in their 8th and final home game of the 2025 season. Welcome inside the Tiger Kickoff Show. Jacob Siciliano joined alongside by our wonderful Missourian beat reporters Quentin Corpuel, Zach Sweet, Chase Jeems. Guys, Mississippi State, last chance for the Tigers at home. What are our thoughts on the matchup?
Well, the road to 10 wins started before the year, but it's ever so important now because Mizzou still has a lot to play for. Again, as we talked about last show, if the Tigers win their last 3 regular season games and win the bowl game, they'll win double-digit games for the 3rd consecutive year, which has never happened before. So still a lot to play for if you're Mizzou.
Yeah, Mississippi State's record is not necessarily reflective of how good of a team they actually are. They're 5-5 right now, 1-5 in conference. But out of those 5 conference games, 3 of those losses have been by 1 possession, and 2 of them have come in overtime. And the 2 that they lost significantly were Texas A&M and Georgia, so 2 very good teams. This is not a bad football team. I think the biggest question mark, which we'll talk about a lot in the show, is whether it's going to be Blake Shapen at quarterback or Kamario Taylor. But regardless of who's playing quarterback, this is definitely going to be an intriguing matchup. And as Quentin mentioned, Missouri's still playing for a lot, still the potential to win 10 games for the 3rd consecutive season.
Yeah, I think this might be Missouri's best chance to get a win for the rest of the year, just because, I mean, for one, it's a home game, and you're on the road for the next 2. Oklahoma obviously presents a little more challenges than Mississippi State does, and then Arkansas, the offense has looked very nice. So I think it's the easiest chance they have, but Mississippi State is not a slouch by any means. And I think the biggest key for this game might be the run game. Mississippi State's run defense ranks 15th in the SEC this year. I think they're 110th in the country. So this is really the chance for Missouri, I think, to get Ahmad Hardy more than 13 carries, like I know you want, and let the run game flourish. Hey, last week you said it.
Give the kid the rock. Yeah, you guys touched on it as well. There is still a lot to play for. Drink touched on that earlier this week on Tiger Talk.
Well, here's the deal. I don't know about all. I know we got a chance this week to play for a rock and play for the seniors. And there's always something to play for. I talked about this in the SEC Media Days, okay? We got to get out of this, oh, man, it's playoffs or bust. Yes, again, we're shooting for the moon. We're going to put our whole self into that. But only 12 teams make the playoffs, and we put ourselves in position in November to be there, okay? Didn't get it done. I got that. But if the season only counts for 12 football teams, and we got 127 Division I playing football teams, that math's not going to math very well. That math's not going to math very well, okay? Football is more than just the playoff potential. And, again, we were there. We were there. We didn't get it done. But, you know, there's a whole heck of a lot to be proud of. There's a whole heck of a lot to play for.
So with this 12-team playoff format, a lot of fans have come in with a playoff or bust mentality. Drinkwitz pushed back on that on Tiger Talk. Do you guys agree with Coach Drink or something else?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think this premature sense of finality after Mizzou lost A&M, knocking it likely out of the college football playoff, I understand it completely because those teams who are not playing for the playoff are playing in the Citrus Bowl versus the 14 playoff teams like Mizzou in 2023 who finished in the top 10. They're playing for the Cotton Bowl, which is a much more prestigious bowl game. And so in some ways, it feels like the season is quote-unquote over. But that's just not a healthy way to live if you're expecting to make the college football playoff every year, if you're not one of the blue bloods like Ohio State or Alabama or Georgia.
It's definitely interesting, too, to look at it from Missouri's perspective, a team that came into this year with these expectations to go to the playoff. Like, internally, Missouri had won double-digit games the past 2 seasons. They had every expectation that they were going to be in the playoff, and to be eliminated with 3 games to play, it's not like an all-or-bust type of thing, but you can see why it would be devastating for Missouri to, at this point in the season, already be eliminated from the college football playoff, essentially.
Yeah, and I think just one of the ramifications of the way the college football playoff is set up now is just that with 12 teams, a lot of these bowl games now, a lot of people don't really put as much stock into them anymore and don't care as much. And I get where people are coming from in that sense, but I do agree with Drinkwitz that, if you just look at those 12 teams as the only teams mattering this season, it kind of takes away from what you've done. It is a disappointing season for Missouri, but to have the opportunity to get 10-win seasons 3 straight years in a row, that's a big improvement for where this program has been for a lot of years. So there's still stuff to play for, and Missouri has that.
Do you agree with Chase, Quentin, in the fact that the 12-team football playoff kind of waters down some of these other bowls that aren't included in the playoff?
Yeah, absolutely, because since you're letting 8 more teams in that are playing in the Cotton Bowl and the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl, that means, again, the teams who just missed the playoff are not playing in those bowls. They are playing in the Citrus Bowl and the Music City Bowl, like Mizzou did last season when they still finished in the top 25. And so I just think that's a natural part of the 12-team playoff. While you let more teams in, that is going to have a, I guess, quote-unquote negative effect elsewhere.
How does that affect college football? Positively, negatively? And if you go to 16 games, does that change things too? Or 16-team playoff, does that change things as well?
I mean, there's a trade-off. I think it maybe makes 10-3 seasons a little bit less valuable, because if this were the case 2 seasons ago, a season that I think is a pantheon season in Mizzou football history, I think Mizzou, actually no, that wouldn't have made sense because they finished in the top 10 and they would have made the college football playoff. You look at the teams who would have been just outside of it, I think that season would have maybe felt a little lesser. And I was more so thinking about people who were frustrated with Eli Drinkwitz, who wanted to win the big game, who wanted to get over that hump. As he said on Tuesday, it's very difficult to do that, and it takes time to build these programs up. Steve Spurrier at South Carolina, Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, Bill Snyder at Kansas State. Like, they didn't get to 10-plus wins until seasons 4, 5, and 6. Like, it takes time at schools with historically non-excellent football programs to get to that point.
What I'll say on that real quick is that Eli Drinkwitz is in year 5 now. But to counter that, I completely agree with Quentin. It takes time to build a program up like this, and Missouri is on the stepping stone of breaking through and becoming an SEC elite.
It takes time. It also takes leadership, and that's what is getting recognized this week on senior night. Drinkwitz talked about his seniors ahead of the game.
I think one of the coolest traditions that Mizzou has is after senior day, if you win, you get to go grab a rock and the teammates carry you off the field. We are currently constructing a rock M on one of the grass spots in front of Brock Olivo's name, so that we can continue that tradition should we happen to earn that.
Last night at Faroe, but I'm excited. It's been a good 5 years here. I feel like, they always talk about leave it better than you found it, and I would say the program's in a better position than when I got here 5 years ago.
We're such a tight-knit group. Like, I want to go out there and still play for, Catalan or Zion, just the other seniors by me. So I just want to get that message to the seniors, and for the young guys, I want them to play for us. And
So those Tigers will be moving on and graduating. So in honor of graduating, in order to graduate from TKS, I gave you guys an assignment, and it's a bio on a Missouri Tiger who is a senior and will be moving on from the program. We'll start with you, Quentin.
Yeah, I'll highlight Dalen Carnell first and foremost. He came into Mizzou at a time when Mizzou was not what it is right now. Dalen Carnell from Indianapolis, Indiana, had offers from schools who were either in better shape at the time than Mizzou and or closer to home like Notre Dame and Indiana. But he chose to come here. He saw things through. He improved every single year. He's become an enforcing hybrid there at the star position on defense over these past few years. My personal favorite play from him was the 2023 game against Tennessee, where he sealed a dominant win rather, over the Volunteers with a pick 6.
Yeah, I mean, the senior that I'll talk about is Zion Young, and I know he's only been here for 2 years. He started his playing career at Michigan State, played 2 years there. Eli Drinkwitz actually tried to recruit him before he committed to Michigan State, and then after 2 seasons at Michigan State, when Young was ready to move on, Drinkwitz got him in the portal and got his guy. Zion Young has been a freak this year for Missouri. He has been awesome to watch. He has 5 sacks already, continues to improve. He's going to be an NFL talent. You can tell by his build, by his physicality. He's going to play at the next level. And if we're doing a favorite moment thing, I can come up with one on the spot pretty easily for Zion Young. Well, his favorite media moment would come at SEC Media Days when he talked about being a tiger, being a cat. But his favorite, my favorite play of Zion's is definitely that scoop and score last year against Oklahoma to win that game. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'll talk about Connor Tolleson. Much like Carnell, he's been here a long time, 5 years, and he's been a 3 years starting center. You know, he's been called Mr. Consistent for a reason. Besides the ACL injury he suffered last year, I mean, he only missed a few games because of that. And besides that, he's been on the field and been a leader at the center position for these quarterbacks. I'm struggling to figure out a play that sticks out. I mean, offensive line's tough for me to think of. Do you guys have any?
Not really. Center is a tough one. At least with offensive tackles and offensive guards, you can get them swinging up to the second level and pancaking people like Armand Membu has the past couple of seasons. It's just naturally tough for a center to have those similar highlights.
Right, but I think for certain at Mizzou, with as long as they've had him at center, they're definitely going to miss him when he's gone, and he's going to be a tough guy to replace there.
Well, you guys passed with flying colors, and you officially, as seniors, graduate from TKSU. But the funny thing for the Tigers is offensively, they're being led by a couple of freshmen. The Tigers are flying high with true freshman Matt Zollers and true freshman Donovan Olubide. They drove the air attack last week against Texas A&M. Olubide was actually the only receiver to have multiple receptions against Texas A&M. And you can take a look at the numbers there, 3 receptions, 74 on the day. Here's what Drink had to say on his connection with his true freshman quarterback.
Yeah, you know, for us, it's about getting him comfortable earlier in the game and creating some easier opportunities for him to get into a rhythm. We never really got him into the rhythm offensively, and so we've got to do a better job of creating some offensive rhythm and not putting him in, you know, situations where he feels the entire pressure to make the play. So that's something that we can do. Obviously, I think, you know, Matt didn't play his senior year because of an injury. The game against UCA and ULL was, you know, the first times he's really played, and then Vanderbilt. So I knew there was going to be some things that we got to continue to work on. I think his confidence in yesterday's walkthrough was better. I think his confidence in practice will be better. And now we've got building blocks on what we can build upon. And so, but it's not, you know, it's unfair to expect Matt to carry the load. You know, I've got to do my job of carrying the load for Matt. Our staff's got to do their job. And then our whole team's got to continue to do their job.
You can see the connection between Zollers and Olubide on the field. Against 77 passing yards for Zollers, 74 to Olubide. What are your thoughts on their connection?
Well, I think it was tough all day on Saturday to generate stuff in the passing game. Again, Zollers threw 15 incompletions on 22 pass attempts. That's not great. But what we have seen so far out of Olubide, at the very least, and Zach has been harping on this for a very long time.
Thank you.
I cannot remember a wide receiver at Mizzou who entered Mizzou as a true freshman have as strong of an it factor as Olubide, other than probably Luther Burden III. It's just so clear that he's going to be very good. And I think for him and Zollers both, it's good that they're getting these reps now because I think it'll benefit them later.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on Donovan Olubide since before the season started, since we got to camp, and I wrote about him then, and then I talked about him on the show when we were asked to highlight a freshman who we thought would carve out a role before the season started. And man, Olubide has impressed even me. I didn't think this was possible from him. He played 51 snaps on Saturday. That's the most by any receiver. The second most was Kevin Coleman, who played 37 snaps. And Olubide's snap count just keeps on going up. Every SEC game, he's gotten more snaps than the next. And that's just reflective of how good he really is. He has the ability to go up and just make plays that I haven't seen from a true freshman, really. Like, even Luther as a freshman wasn't making the plays and the impact that I've seen out of Donovan. And it's really, really impressive at this stage in his career to see what he's doing. But I'm just expecting more from him over the next 3 weeks, and I'm really excited to see how that connection continues to play out with Matt Zollers, both the true freshman to true freshman connection.
Yeah, I think moving forward, you have to get Donovan as many reps as possible. I think that should be the priority for the receiver room. Now, I would say I would like Kevin Coleman and Marquise Johnson to get more involved than they have been. I think for the passing game to flourish, you kind of need them to get involved more, but Donovan should be the number one target, I think. And, you know, he is the future, and he's also the present. Like, he's the best receiver in the room right now.
What's your case for him being the number one target over Coleman and over Marquise and over Norfolk?
I think because, you know, you want to see him and Zollers grow their connection right now because there is a chance that next year that's going to continue. So, and he's shown that he makes the big plays and the big catches, and I think he's just shown more potential than some of those other guys have. And, at the end of the day, Coleman is for certain out in a few games. I think the priority should just be Donovan and getting him reps.
I mean, with the way the transfer portal is now and the way NIL comes into playing college football, what makes you guys think that Donovan Olubade shouldn't be the primary focus for Missouri football over the next 3 games in order to retain him next year, him and Zollers both? Like, I don't think you can really make a case against that.
No, you can't afford to lose him. This is one of the best receiving talents they've had in a recent memory, so you got to keep him. And the way to do that is get him reps and keep him involved.
Well, he'll be a focus for sure against Mississippi State. Let's take a look at the matchup history between the Tigers and Mississippi State. So, Mississippi State at their quarterback position for the Bulldogs, they've seen 2 guys come in this year. One, Blake Shapen has been the main guy at the position, the senior. He's been established, but he's been a little banged up back-to-back days. We'll take a look at it here. Kamario Taylor, he's the young buck, the freshman that has seen action in each of the last 2 games for Mississippi State. We don't know who's going to be playing quarterback. What do you guys have to say?
Yeah, so we got a little bit of clarity on the Wednesday night SEC availability report. Blake Shapen was listed as probable after missing a chunk of the Georgia game last week with an injury, which put Kamario Taylor into the spotlight. Jeff Levy said earlier this week that if Blake Shapen is healthy, he is going to play. It looks like he's on track to being fully healthy for Saturday's game, although we don't quite know for sure yet.
Yeah, the game plan for each is a bit different. So Kamario Taylor is definitely the mobile threat. He likes to use his legs. We saw that last week against Georgia when he got action when Shapen went down. Kamario Taylor rushed 12 times. So Missouri, though, they've done a really good job against those mobile quarterbacks this year. So if you're a Mississippi State fan, I saw on Twitter last night on X, there were some Mississippi State fans saying they don't even want Blake Shapen to play. So I don't really know where they're at, but I don't think the quarterback is going to make that much of a difference, whether it's Shapen or Taylor. I think it'll be Missouri's defensive front dominating again.
Mississippi State has really struggled in protecting the quarterback this year. Shapen was sacked 31 times, and the offensive line allows, I believe, 3.2 sacks per game. What Taylor does differently is with his legs, he's able to kind of get out of that situation and avoid sacks. So if he does play, I think they might have a little bit easier time there. But at the same time, Mizzou defense has proven that they can put pressure on opposing offenses, and I think they average 2.4 sacks per game. I think that's going to happen in this game if they can get through the O-line.
So if you're a Tiger fan, who are you wanting to start at quarterback?
Good question. I would say probably Taylor with his inexperience. I think it'd be kind of fun to see Zollers versus Taylor as 2 freshmen going at it. I think Shapen has a little more experience, obviously, and presents more of a threat in the passing game, but I don't think there's a huge separation between either of them necessarily.
I think stylistically, again, as we talked about, they're very different. With Kamario Taylor, he just needs to play. Again, he's a true freshman. It's very clear that his feel for the game needs to improve, and that only comes with reps, as we've been talking about with Matt Zollers. Blake Shapen, Chase, you said he's a little more experienced. He's a lot more experienced. If you remember the Baylor-Oklahoma State Big 12 championship, where Jalen Warren was that close to scoring and giving the Cowboys a win, Blake Shapen was the starting quarterback for Baylor in that game. That's when we were seniors in high school. We're seniors in college right now. He's played a lot of college football, and I think that experience will serve him well.
Our guy, Tyson Ellison, former Missouri Tiger, he studied both of those quarterbacks and much more for this game in Sideline Study Hall.
Missouri might not know who they're playing against at quarterback, but there is no question what the Tigers are playing for. That's the chance to carry their seniors off the field in their last game at home this season. Now, there are seniors who get multiple senior nights in this era of college football, but there's still something special about your teammate carrying that rock off the field. Speaking of carrying the rock, this game's going to come down to who's carrying the rock for Missouri, whether that be Ahmad Hardy or Jamal Roberts. This is the 110th run defense in the country. Here's why. This is the line of scrimmage. You see these two pullers running across the line of scrimmage. That means the whole defensive line has been bulldozed backwards on this play. This is a very common theme. And if I pause it here, you see that at the new line of scrimmage, the defensive line is still 3 or 4 yards down the field, and every player who could make a play for Mississippi State is blocked. So now you're one-on-one with the safety down the field who's not going to make this play. You see it's a foot race, Georgia touchdown. I expect an explosive run out of Missouri as well, because same play, you get this same look in the circle. The backside player is the only one unblocked. Everybody who can make a play here for Mississippi State is blocked and taken care of. So now it's a foot race. Once again, running back able to get down the field. It's going to be a touchdown here for Georgia. Think Jamal Roberts at the end of the Kansas game, Ahmad Hardy against South Carolina. I think we'll see plenty of that in this football game. What you hope to see is your young quarterback on senior night getting comfortable early. You can do that with swing passes here. Arch Manning for Texas, only a minute into this football game, gets the ball passed at the line of scrimmage. And against Mississippi State, those perimeter passes can pay dividends. It turns into a lot more. So if Missouri can establish that early, it allows Zollers to feel comfortable when he's throwing these deep passes vertically. Georgia had no trouble with this. You'll see the quarterback in the backfield here doesn't even look around at his routes, has one-on-one coverage, stares it down the whole way, and is still successful because his receiver high points the football. Love to see that out of Alubade. Now, between our two quarterbacks, number 2 is QB1, number 1 is QB2. You might see two quarterbacks in one game. Here's exactly why. Blake Shapen is a great precision passer. He's able to stand in this pocket and take the hits to get that pass into tight windows. He'll have to take those hits because he gets hit often, but he's a very good quarterback. You can see here in the run action, his eyes stay downfield. He's got his option because the run game sucks up that defense, and now deep down the field, he's got his receiving option. But like I said, he takes a lot of hits. This team is 127th in sacks allowed in the country with 32. This time, 5 offensive linemen, 4 defensive linemen allow an easy sack against Tennessee. Blake Shapen is definitely banged up, which is why Kamario Taylor comes in and runs quarterback run options. In the quarterback run, you get +1. What that means is now your running back becomes an extra blocker on the play you wouldn't normally have. So against the goal line defenses, you're going to see this often, where Kamario Taylor gets into the end zone untouched. I don't worry about Missouri against mobile quarterbacks. I do worry about plays like this. Deep down the field, deep sideline. Mississippi State loves to take these shots, especially with Taylor playing quarterback. You're going to see another one here deep down the middle of the field against Arkansas. He is capable of explosive plays. Missouri's pass defense is capable of allowing them. But what you're hoping for is in their last showing at home this year, the Missouri defense can step up and take home a win. Can they do it? We'll find out. Jacob, back to you.
Thanks, Tyson. Take it to the grave. It's been rough for us. Not me. I got my first one right last week. We're going to try to do this whole thing again and take it to the grave this week. But first,
I think you've led with it's been rough for us every single time we do this segment, and it hasn't really been that
really
rough. I know that
rough.
Chase and I lost last week.
When this segment was created, this was supposed to be like a once or twice a year thing.
What?
Yes.
No.
And you guys created a hot take segment out of it. I promise. This. Who else would know, Sweet? Who else would know? In the meantime, you know what? You got to take wrong, so just roll the tape.
Hey, yeah, that's more like it, Chase. Bro, Chase is breaking it down on the Tiger Kickoff show.
Okay, not as good as Zach and Jacob last time.
What's up, guys? Zach Sweet here with the Tiger Kickoff show, and I am here to announce the winner of our last giveaway. So, without further ado, congratulations to Casey E on winning the giveaway. I picked the number 3, which was your comment. And if you comment on this post right here, comment down here, if you can comment here, you can win one of these shirts with our next giveaway. So, congratulations, Casey E. And comment Tiger Kickoff Show. We're here, right here. Get this shirt. Come get you one.
Chase, I did not know that you had dance moves like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Can you give us a dance move right now?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna like get up and everything, and or do you want me to?
No. I mean, you know what? It's okay.
He's trying to I
got enough.
It's
right. Hey, and if you remember on
that's what I did like
yeah?
this little motion.
Yeah, it's almost like the Brady Cook. Like you're almost stirring it. Sweet for you. Again, for our fans, follow us on socials and you get another crack at those T-shirts for the Tiger Kickoff Show. Quentin, we'll start with you, though. You did not have to do a punishment because you got your take right. What's your take for this week?
So we already talked about the fact that Mississippi State has struggled to defend the run. And Mizzou, although the rushing offense has not been as fortuitous in recent games as it was before the season, I think Mizzou is going to really succeed on the ground this time around. Give me a gap in rushing yards gained of at least 100 between Mizzou and Mississippi State.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking about maybe going towards Mizzou's rushing yards as a team. I think all of us on the panel might have been thinking that, but I'll veer away. I'll stay away from that. I'm going to go to Missouri's defensive front. It's been dominant all year. Even against Texas A&M, it kept them in the game in the first half. The defensive front has been good. I'm going to go Mizzou gets, let's say, 2 sacks on Saturday.
I was going to go with the run game as well, but I'll pivot. I'll say I'm not sure whether it'll be an interception or a fumble, but I think Matt Zollers will turn the ball over at least once in this game.
That worked for me last week pretty well to break my curse, but I'm also going to go with the defensive front like Zach said, except I'm going to get specific. I think Zion Young gets a sack in this game. That's it for Take It to the Grave. Let's take a quick look at the upcoming matchups this week in college football. Any matchups stick out to you in particular, Quinn?
Yeah, Oklahoma's playing at Alabama with a chance to strengthen their CFP resume. They are right on that CFP bubble, and a signature win like this could vault them into the picture.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting going on that Oklahoma-Alabama game. If Oklahoma gets that signature win this week, then look at who they got next week.
Yeah, and if they don't, maybe Mizzou can knock them out of the playoff. That's a possibility next week.
Quentin, what's your prediction for the big game for Missouri, their last home game against Mississippi State?
Yeah, I'm going to go the anti-Bill Parcells route. I don't think Mississippi State's record is what they are. I think they are a little bit better than 5-5 and 1-5 in the SEC, but I think Mizzou is a little better on both sides of the ball. I think the defense is going to have a big day. Give me the Tigers 24-13.
Yeah, Mississippi State's run defense is fraudulent. We've talked about it all show. I also don't think their pass pro is going to hold up against Missouri's defensive front. I think Missouri takes advantage enough. I think they pick up a bounce-back win this week. I think they get the first step in the right direction towards that 10-win season. I'm going to go Missouri 26-17 odd score prediction, but 26 points.
I'm right in line with you guys. I think Mizzou's got this one. With the run game being able to possibly flourish, and I think the defense will have a much easier time with this offense than it did, obviously, against A&M last week. I'll have the score at 28-17 Mizzou.
For the Tigers, I think that they're going to be able to establish the run game well, which will help out Matt Zollers and Donovan Olubade and that connection that we talked about. I think that defensive front, again, shows up as well. I've got the Tigers winning this one 27-20. What are we really fast most excited for in this matchup in a short sentence? Quentin, we'll start with you.
The potential growth of Matt Zollers.
Potential growth of Zollers.
Donovan Olubade.
Yeah, we already knew that. We didn't even need to ask you.
How much pressure Zion Young puts on?
Yeah, let's see. I hope so for my sake and take it to the grave. But we thank you guys for watching this episode of the Tiger Kickoff Show. Again, you can catch us anytime here on YouTube or on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're there. Quentin Corpuel, Zach Sweet, Chase James, Jacob Siciliano, signing off from TKS.
Watch the Tiger Kickoff.